StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskaram, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Divedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, where we will learn significant events of the past few days because yesterday it was a holiday. Before that, Sundays was also there. And before that, one class was missed. So I have covered all the important news. And in these many days, whatever has happened is significant from the perspective of your preliminary examination has been included in today's class. So do not worry about that. Now, before I begin, I would like to inform you that do not make notes because I provide the notes through the form of PDF on my Telegram channel. Other than this, if you want to talk to me about UPSC examination, you can also talk to me on my Instagram. These are the various events that we have to cover today. There is also a practice question at the end of this. So today we are going to cover a lot. So before I also move forward, I would also like to tell you about the extension of the dates. Till 15th of August, we had this offer that we are going to provide you a high discount from 70,000 to 26,999 if you use the code PDLive for P2I batches for Hindi, English and English, all three. But we have extended till today. So if you have missed it, please ensure that you take admission through using the code PDLive. It's also available for these many optionals. PDLive for these many as well. Moving on. Who among the following is the largest exporter of crude steel? USA, Germany, India, China. Now, China is not only the largest producer but also the largest exporter of steel, crude steel. And this question was an easy one. Still, many of you may get confused if you haven't followed updation carefully. And I will take the names of those students who have answered this question correctly. The correct answer will be option D, China. Okay. So why have I asked you this question? Because Steel Authority of India said that they are performing really good in this particular sector of crude steel production and sales. They registered a growth of 8% in crude steel production, and this is as compared to last year for the same period of time. It is a 23% rise in sales volumes over corresponding last year. Okay, so China remains the global leader in crude steel production. In December 2022, it was 77.9 million metric tons. It was just down 10% if we compare it to the year before of the same period. And India is second, Japan is third, USA, and then Russia. So remember the top 5 ones. This is how it is going. China has remained the most important producer, largest producer, as well as the exporter of steel. India has emerged as the second largest producer of crude steel. Remember that this is the most latest one. Okay, moving on. Consider the following statements with respect to the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Okay, I have repeated this twice, so sorry for that. It replaced the National Agriculture Insurance Scheme and modified National Agricultural Insurance Scheme. It was once mandatory, but now it is optional. There is no upper limit on government subsidies. How many statements given above is or are correct? The Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in the year 2016 and it replaced the NAIS and modified National Agricultural Insurance Scheme. By doing this, it ensured that there is no confusion when it comes to the insurance, so that the farmers who are dealing in such a risky business, that is growing crops, is very risky nowadays because of climate change. It was ensured that any kind of issue, if arises with respect to the crop stability, the government is able to provide premium insurance to these areas, and this is for notified crops. Okay, and then it was once mandatory, but just few years ago it has been made voluntary. So if any farmer, any farmer for any notified crop doesn't want to get enrolled in this, it is not compulsory for them. Second is also correct, and there is no upper limit on government subsidies. This is definitely correct. So first is correct, third is correct. How many are correct? 2 only will be the correct answer. 1,40,599 crore rupees have been paid to about 1457 lakh farmers under this particular scheme since its inception, since it was launched in 2016. It is administered by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, replacing these two important schemes. Farmers who are including sharecroppers, that means they share their cropping system mechanism on a single plot of piece of field or land, and tenant farmers, that means if I am a person X, I have a land in this particular village, I want to give it to a tenant farmer to sow crops, give a part of the earnings to me and remaining with them. This is tenant croppers. farmers growing notified crops in the notified areas are eligible for coverage. To provide insurance coverage and financial support to the farmers in case of any failures, in case of whenever a natural calamity occurs, pests, diseases occur, and there will also be a uniform premium of only 2% to be paid by farmers for kharif crops and 1.5% for rabi crops. For horticulture, it is 5%, okay? And there is no upper limit on the government subsidies. Also, even if the balance premium is 90%, it will be borne by the government. So this is the unique thing about this particular scheme. Consider the following: birth, descent, naturalization, registration. How many of the above are the method to acquire Indian citizenship under this particular act, Indian Citizenship Act of 1955? See, citizenship means a particular relationship that a person has with a country. This is to manage the relationship between a state and the people who are residing there. And in India, there is a concept of a person being a citizen, the person is of this particular country, and alien, a person who doesn't belong to our country. It's not that jadoo alien, okay? So birth, yes, if you're born in India to parents who may be of Indian origin or not. If you want to get a citizenship in India by birth, one can do so. By descent, if your great great grandfather or great great grandmother were a part of undivided India, then also you can do that. Then we have naturalization. A person should be residing for at least 12 years in India to register for naturalization, among other criteria. And then we have registration. So these all four are mentioned under the Citizenship Act of 1955. That is correct. All four will be the correct answer. And recently Akshay Kumar has shown that he has acquired the citizenship of India, and there was a lot of films which are very nationalist in character but still having a citizenship of Canada. So now he says that he has acquired the Indian citizenship. Citizens are full members of the Indian state and they owe their allegiance or loyalty to India. They enjoy all civil and political rights, both. The citizenship, this matter, is listed in the Union list. That means the Parliament has the exclusive powers to make laws on this. The Constitution does not at all refer to the term, does not define, as in there is no definition of who can be counted as a citizen and who can't. Part 2, from Articles 5 to 11, the Constitution deals with citizenship, and because of the issue of partition, citizenship came into existence, implemented, or we can say it was implemented from November 26, 1949 itself, instead of the beginning of the Constitution, that is 26 January 1950. Citizenship Acts and Amendments, if we see this particular Act 1955, provides for acquisition as well as termination. Termination can include renouncing Indian citizenship, applying for, losing Indian citizenship. And other than this, we also have acquiring of some other country's citizenship. If a person has acquired the citizenship of another country, then the Indian citizenship will be lost. Birth, descent, registration, and naturalization are certain processes. Also, it has been amended in 1986, 2003, 2005, 2015. Article 366 is related to official languages of India, scheduled tribes, Election Commission of India, procedure to amend Constitution. The correct answer will be option B. Specifically, if we talk about Article 366 Clause 25. Article 366 Clause 25 says that any tribe or tribe within a subtribe, if it is deemed to be as a scheduled tribe as by Article 342, then a person or a tribe can be notified so. So Article 366, although does not explicitly say that this is the criteria for a tribe to be a tribe, but still it says that there is another article, that is Article 342, that will help the country to arrive at a proper criteria on the basis of which any tribe can be described as or defined or declared as a scheduled tribe. Okay, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, when he was in Vienna recently, he said that Adivasis are the original inhabitants of India. It's not actually Vanvasi. Vanvasi is a term that is saying that Adivasis, they just belong to the forest area, but they are the original inhabitants of India. This has been termed by the word Adivasi. Okay, and the tribes are the native people of the land who are believed to be the earliest settlers of the Indian peninsula before the introduction of the caste system through the Brahminical caste system, it is said that the tribes did not have any social hierarchies. People were divided into different tribes only. And Article 366, Clause 25 says that scheduled tribes are such tribes or tribal communities or groups within such tribal communities as deemed under 342. Like the Kuki tribes, Kuki tribe is actually an umbrella term for all the sub-tribes that identify as Kukis. And Article 342 says that specification of tribes or tribal communities which are deemed for the purposes of the constitution of scheduled territories, they have to be notified by the president, of course, in talks with the governor of any state of union or union territory on which there is a discussion that this tribe from this particular UT or state is going to be a scheduled tribe. The proposal first comes from the state government. Okay, moving on. According to 2011 census, the tribal population formed 8.61% of the total population. 97% are in rural areas and 10.03% in urban areas. The term Sova Rikpa is derived from which of the following languages? First, you have to know about Sova Rikpa. It's a traditional medicine system and it is generally employed in Ladakh and Ladakh regions and certain Himalayan states such as Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh. Sova Rikpa is related to traditional medicine and it is said so in the Bhoti language. Okay, so option C will be correct. Ministry of Ayush and the World Health Organization, they are going to organize the first of its kind global summit on traditional medicine. According to the WHO, traditional medicines are a set of skills and knowledges along with drugs that have been practiced in the entire world since century. And this particular system is known as traditional medicines according to the WHO. And this will happen on the 17th of this month, that is 17th August in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. The Center for Traditional Medicine has also been situated in Gandhinagar, Gujarat with the help of WHO only. According to WHO, it is the total sum of knowledge, skills and practices which are indigenous and different cultures have used it over time to maintain a good health, prevent, diagnose and treat mental illness as well as physical, both, not only one. And acupuncture, Ayurvedic medicine, herbal mixtures, these all are a part of the traditional medicines because they are being followed since so many years and in indigenous areas. That is why they are traditional medicine. In India, it is often defined as practices such as yoga, Ayurveda, Siddha. Siddha system is more so in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and Sova Rikpa in Leh Ladakh, Himalayan regions such as Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Darjeeling, Lahore and Spiti. So these areas, they employ the Sova Rikpa system, which is a part of the Amchi system of medicine. It is the oldest living and well documented traditional medicine which comes from the Bhoti language. Some scholars say that it is indigenous to India, some say it is from China and some say it is from Tibet. Okay, so we do not have a proper documentation of the exact origin, but still it is said so. From 1902 to 1910, he partook in the struggle to free India from the British. As a result of his political activities, he was imprisoned in 1908 in the Alipur bomb case. It's actually Alipur. He believed that the basic principles of matter, life and mind would be succeeded through terrestrial evolution. That means whatever is in our mind can be achieved when we evolve on this earth by the principle of supermind as an intermediate power between the two spheres of the finite and the infinite. Okay, so who are we referring to actually in this particular paragraph? Bal Gangadhar Tilak, V.D. Savarkar, Sri Aurobindo, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. The correct answer to this question is Sri Aurobindo. Okay, so Sri Aurobindo, A New Dawn, this particular movie encapsulates the life of a visionary who inspired millions of nationalist poets, philosophers and yogis and seers as well. Because yesterday was the birth anniversary of Sri Aurobindo, who actually was a very important yogi, nationalist, freedom fighter, seer, and many other things. So he was born in Calcutta, now Kolkata, on 15th August 1872, who propounded a philosophy of divine life on earth through spiritual evolution. That means if anybody has to evolve spiritually, then they have to follow certain practices. And he died on 5th December 1950 in Pondicherry only. From 1902 to 10, he partook actively in the struggle between India and the British. And as a result of his political activity, he was also imprisoned in 1908. But later on, he fled to Pondicherry, and then he founded a very important institute over there, the Sri Aurobindo Ashram, so that whatever practices he is employing in order to ensure spiritual evolution of the human beings can be achieved from here. Consider the following statements with respect to the Vishwakarma scheme. We do not know much about it, but whatever we know so far, we have tried to formulate a question. It will be available for skilled craftsmen from village and towns who create a living by working with their own hands. It will be launched with an outlay of rupees 13,000 to 15,000 crore. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? On the Independence Day speech, in the Independence Day speech, the Prime Minister said that on 17th of September, we are going to get a new scheme, that is the Vishwakarma Yojana. And this is being done with an outlay of at least 13,000 to 15,000 crore. This is the range of as we know so far. And it will be available for skilled craftsmen, as well as these can belong from villages and towns who are working with their own hands. That is why Vishwakarma. And this was also told after the budget session as well. So first and second both are correct. Both 1 and 2 will be the correct answer. And also this is the PM Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman Yojana. Okay, especially for people where the central focus remains on those skilled craftsmen for villages, from villages as well as urban area who are self-employed, we can say. Objective is to develop traditional artisans and craftsmanship while preserving their rich tradition, because we saw that when the British came to India, they ensured that they disrupt the socio-economic fabrics of the villages, and hence impoverishing the industry that was dependent on these many things. So that is why it is important to reclaim our history. Who among the following was also known as Gandhi Budi? Okay, Beena Das, Matangani Hazra, Sarojini Naidu, Kanklata Barua. The correct answer to this question is option B, Matangani Hazra. Okay, and recently the President of India mentioned the names of women freedom fighter, in which we also found the mention of two very important women freedom fighters, Matangani Hazra and also Ma Kasturba, and apart from them, Kankalata Barua. So these three very important, iconic nationalist women found mention in the President Murmu's speech. She was Hazra, Ma Hazra was 73 when she fell to British bullets. We will talk about this as well, because she was leading a march during the Quit India movement. She was doing so in Tamluk in West Bengal. Not a lot of things is known about her, but we can just find certain information from the archives of West Bengal. She was born to a poor farmer, and they did not have enough money for her formal education. So she was married at a very young age to a 60-year-old man. Hence, after a period of time, she was widowed as well as childless. She never walked down from all these circumstances, and she joined the very important nationalist movements that India was going through. She was married at 12 only to Trilochan Hazra. He was a 60-year-old man. By age 18, she was widowed. In his book Code Name God, Indian American author Mani Bhaumik has written that Matangani's love for Gandhi was so great that she became known in our village as Gandhi Budi, or the old Gandhian woman. So remember whom we are talking about. Okay. At 61, she was arrested for taking part in the civil disobedience movement in 1930 and also the Salt March. When she was participating in the Quit India movement in August 1942, that year, since then, when she started going through the marches, in September that year, she led a large procession of around 6,000 protesters and women. And this was a very peaceful protest. But British bullets, when they came, the British guards came, she stood in front of them, said that this is a peaceful protest, you do not need to fire on the protesters. But they did open fire on the protesters, and Ma Hazra, she collapsed. Okay, moving on. 1977, the first statue in the Kolkata Maidan dedicated to a woman revolutionary was that of Matangani Hazra, very brave woman. Moving on, consider the following pairs. Naval exercise we have to match with the countries that are involved. Naseem al-Bahar, India and Oman. Zaid Talwar, India and UAE. Al-Muhid, Al-Hindi, India and Saudi Arabia. So let us see how many pairs given above is or are correct. Naseem al-Bahar, is a naval exercise between the countries of India and Oman. This is definitely correct. Even Zaid Talwar, which was recently conducted between India and UAE, is correct. And Al Mohed Al Hindi is between India and Saudi Arabia. So first, second, third, all are correct. All three will be the correct answer. Two Indian Navy ships, INS Vishakhapatnam as well as Trikant, participated in the bilateral exercise by the name of Zaid Talwar, and this aims to enhance the interoperability between the two countries' naval powers in the different regions so that trade relations can be maintained and pirates can also be curbed. Consider the following statements. This is an actual question that was already asked in the UPSC prelims examination. The only difference that has been made over here is the options. Okay, so you have to answer it correctly in the comment segment. According to the Indian Patents Act, a biological process to create a seed can be patented in India. In India, there is no intellectual property appellate board and plant varieties are not eligible to be patented in India. So we have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. Okay. Now let me take the names of those students who have answered the last question correctly, because I asked you two questions. One was in the midst and second was at the last. So Ria has answered it correctly. Article 51A, clause H. Simran has answered it correctly. Ankush, again Ria has answered both the questions correctly. Anjali has answered it correctly. Pooja, conquer yourself. Rahul, thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you, speech expression. And also Prabhat has answered it. No, Prabhat has answered it incorrectly. It is actually China. Okay, Vivek has answered it correctly. Thanmegs has answered it correctly. Mallinath, Randhir, then Abhishek has answered both the questions. Good. Then Priyadarshini has also Priyadarshan has answered both the questions. Very good. Yalalinga, Khushi Yadav, Mansi, you have also answered both the questions. Very good. Then there is a username I cannot pronounce. Answered it correctly. Roshan has answered it correctly. Shubhank has answered correctly. Tejas, Robinson, Yash Jain, Mandeep, you all have answered it correctly. Very good. Answer this question as well for the upcoming class. Thank you so much for watching.
StudyIQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।